Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Touching You Talk Show. I am Sheila Black, and I have a very special guest in the person of Bosque Moore. How are you today, sir?
I'm doing well, doing well. Had a really long day today, but I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So I like to ask my guests, how long have we known each other?
We have known each other. What year is this? Probably 6 or 7 years. You know that
You think it's been that
it has been because that's when I first started visiting services. So yeah, it's been that long since about 2019.
long?
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go on my Touching You Talk Show page and share this so people can see it live. Let me put on here, we are live. All right. So I thank you so much for joining me today. And this is June and this is Men's Month as far as I'm concerned. And I like to highlight men that are doing some wonderful things in the kingdom. And Mr. Bosque has an awesome business that's called Twisted Pads Home Remodeling and Repair. And I look forward to actually hiring him to do some things around this house. I've been here since 1985. No, it was built in 85, but I've been here since 1998. And there are some things, sir, that
Okay,
need to be done in my home. So stay tuned.
there
I
you
will
go.
be reaching out. So, first of all, thank you for joining us today. Tell the audience a little bit about yourself and about your family.
Oh, sure. So I am a native born Texan, here from this great state, down around Waco. My hometown's Back. That's where I grew up at. Went to technical school and found my way through the utility trade, and I did that for a lot of years. Uh, I am married. My wife is Keisha. I got two beautiful girls, Noah, and my oldest daughter is Madison, and we're just a normal American family, trying to live and make ends meet. Um, I do have a small business that we'll get a chance to probably talk about, but that's I'm a pretty simple guy. I'm a man of faith for sure, and just try to live life the right way, treat people the way you want to be treated, the golden rule, and I think the rest of it kind of works itself out.
Absolutely, absolutely. So let me just say that I love your entire family. I love Madison. I love little Noah, and I definitely love Miss Keisha. She's my sis. She my road dog. Yeah, she my
All right.
road dog. She'll tell you that I say that to everybody, but she is truly my road dog, and I love her so very much. So first of all, tell me what inspired you to start Twisted Pads Home Remodeling and Repair. Can you hear me?
So my volume. Let me see. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I may jump out and jump back in so that I can hear you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Again, I want to talk about Keisha. She said, "Love you more." I love her even more. Her little baby, little Noah. She calls me Gigi, and when I tell you, every Sunday, when she see me, she run up to me and give me the biggest hug. And I love her so much. And then I love Miss Madison. She's such a beautiful young lady, and it's just a blessing to know this family. So, can you hear me now, Bosque?
I can hear you now.
Okay, so my question was, what inspired you to start Twisted Pads Home Remodeling and Repair?
Well, Twisted Pads is, it's funny. Twisted Pads, that name came about in 2008. That's really when I went and filed it. And if you look at our 800 number, is 8844. We buy pads. So it was not even a remodeling company. It was like a real estate investment deal, and I was still trying to figure it out. But over time, I kind of went from that model to something that I love to do. I love to do repairs. I like to beautify spaces. I like to work with my hand. My background and is construction and electrical. So Twisted Pass really just came about from me doing things on the side and ultimately taking a leap to try to do it full time and see if it's something that I could make a living at. And it's been working out well for me. So that's really how it just it just branched from a, following my dream and following my passion, and really pursuing something that I felt dedicated to.
Well, that is beautiful. So, what separates Twisted Pads from other remodeling companies?
No, it's a good question. We are a small company. Yeah, we are. Our team is, I'm gonna say less than 10 or so. So we're not a huge company. We're um, very communicative. We like to get to know our customers. Our customers know us. One thing that I always try to tell customers is it's a lot of contractors out there. You want to work with someone that's going to pick up the phone when you call them, or answer, or be transparent. Uh, so we do things the right way. I don't know if I'm not saying that not all contractors don't do that, but we just believe in doing things the right way. We treat customers and treat people the way that we like to be treated, honest and up front and fair. And I think that's worked well for us. We stand behind our work. We generally guarantee our work up for an amount of time. We put things in writing and contracts. That protects customers and it protects us. So well, I think we try to do things by the book and stand behind our product, and I think that's something that has helped us, and maybe be a little bit different from some others out there.
That is beautiful. So, what advice would you give someone who wants to start their own business?
Starting your own business generally starts on the side. I think if someone wants to start their own business, it's you got to kind of find uh, something that you probably enjoy to do, and also something that hopefully that it makes money. Business, the intent of business is to be able to make money, or provide a service, provide a good, and in return you get that from it. So it needs to be uh, something that makes sense in that space. But I definitely say it's no bad time to start a business, um, but don't jump up and quit your job if you have a job, right? You kind of start it on the side, you test the waters, you get feedback, uh, you know, kind of tweak your product. I once heard someone say it's kind of like getting on the interstate, and that's the metaphor I normally use. You kind of start on the service road, and you try different things, and you're not quite going full speed. You can kind of go a little slower, and as things progress you can kind of ramp it up, maybe ramp up the customers you're trying to get, ramp up the services or the products you're trying to provide, and ultimately you build up a little speed, a little steam, and you'll work your way into the on ramp and then onto the freeway. But you have to start a little slower before you jump out there full speed.
That's good. That's good. So, what are some of the most requested modeling projects that you're seeing right now?
So we're unique. We are a remodeling company, but we also are a home repair company, which is a handyman type company. So we kind of have two umbrellas. We do large projects, from kitchens and baths and flooring and tile, just big projects, to really small things like changing out light fixtures or ceiling fans, or your door lock, or put you on a ring camera or something like that. So we typically see more of the smaller type jobs, because that's just probably what people have going on day to day in their property or in their rental unit. We do support some rental properties, so we see a lot of those in terms of count. And then occasionally, we get the request to come off in and do a larger size project. So, um, but the bulk, probably 3 to 1, is probably the smaller ones before we land a larger one. Mhm.
That is good. That is good. So, what are some of the common mistakes homeowners make when hiring a contractor?
Uh, Biggest thing I think that contractors have gotten a bad rap for is taking money and running off and not showing up. So homeowners are very leery about that. We have some repeat customers, but a lot of customers are first time. They heard about us. We were recommended by someone, but it's still the first time doing business with us. So we try to bridge that gap to make them feel comfortable. It's a larger project. We do require a deposit, but it's a reasonable amount, and then we do draws. We don't take more than what we've done. So we try to, as a project progresses, that's when we kind of ask for payments. And again, no, paperwork is important. We got a great system, so everything's documented. Signatures are on it. You get a copy, we get a copy. So we try to just be transparent transparent and try to build that trust. We're out there on Google, so I always try to tell customers, hey, if you want to know more about us, just Google us or go look at our website. And the credibility that you get from other past customers uh, tends to help bridge that barrier too. But that's the biggest mistake, I think, is homeowners are just weary. A lot of them have been burnt and giving someone, a large sum of money without having anything to protect themselves, like a contract, and that can be a problem.
Okay. So, how can homeowners avoid being scammed by unlicensed contractors?
So, like I just mentioned, do your homework. If you're working with a reputable company, uh, everybody has to start. So when I started, I didn't have a lot of uh, I guess social media and things that you can find us on. But I think as time goes, you should be asking customers to give you feedback, asking customers to share that feedback. So, go out and do a little background searching. Google them, hop on Facebook and see if they're credible. You can ask them for references. Most contractors can probably pull up references pretty quick. So just do your homework. If it sounds too good to be true, they're giving you an unbelievable price, and they're asking for some things maybe up front to get that, then it may be too good to be true. So just do your homework, and I think that tends to, and use your common sense, and I think that tends to work out well for homeowners.
I'm gonna tell you because I see it on all the time on Facebook. Free windows for seniors.
Hmm. Okay,
And I'm
okay.
saying to myself, now I know good and well, it is not completely free. It is not completely free. It is not completely free.
Yeah.
So, homeowners out there, watch out when they tell you that it's free.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
what are the signs that a homeowner should stop patching a problem and invest in a remodel?
Uh, if it's something that you've continued to visit, maybe over and over again, and it doesn't seem like the fix is working, or if it's something that you've called your friend, a buddy over, or somebody down the street to fix, and you notice that fix is probably not fixed the right way. Sometimes I think after you tried it a time or two, then you may need to call someone. A lot of people do DIY projects, and I think DIY is great. Some DIY projects can get you in over your head. So I think it's just kind of maybe the size of the project you're doing, uh, maybe the impact it might have. So it just can depend on, for example, plumbing. If you're not too familiar with plumbing, you don't want to go starting to pull off faucets and do different things. You need to know where your shut off valve is, in case something happens, right? So it's just kind of weigh the risk before you jump in and try something on your own. But don't be afraid to beautify your space, if it's something like paint or little things like that. But if it's a trade, an electrical, an AC, a plumbing, something like that, that may be a little bit more risk to it, then you may want to get someone off in, or just get some guidance before you maybe jump off in on your own. So
So, does your company actually do electrical work as well?
we do electrical work as well. In the here in the state, some things you can do, and then some things you have to have a licensed provider come off in for. So if you're changing out a ceiling fan, or you updating some plugs, or putting up some new lighting fixtures, all those type of things, you can find 1,000 handymen or 1,000 remodel companies to do it. If your house is grown and you deciding, well, I think we need to add more circuits, or maybe we need a different panel. If my circuit breaker panel is just too small and we've added on a room. Well, you start getting into some of those larger things, or you're doing an add-on, maybe an addition to the property that needs to be wired. Then you want to call in like licensed electrical providers. So just depends on what the scope that you're doing would depend on who you can call to get that done for you. But yes, we do electrical and many other trades.
So, if I wanted to add like 3 rooms to the back of my home, do I have to get some type of permit, or
Three
can
rooms
you
to the
just
back.
do it?
Yeah,
Can
three
you
rules
just
to the
do
back of
it?
your home. Don't just go out there on Monday and start breaking ground. Hire a contractor. And you just brought up a great point. This is also something that gets homeowners, like you asked earlier. A reputable contractor shouldn't have a problem taking care of permitting. Uh, if you got a contractor that for some reason is not, you know, don't feel comfortable working with the city and don't feel comfortable going through inspections, that might be a flag. So, if it's something that you need a permit for, your contractor can take care of that. You as the homeowner, you're paying that contractor to deliver the service and get you what you need, so they can navigate that space for you, so that you won't have to really deal with those things. But yes, you will need a permit if you're adding on to your house anywhere within the city. You need a permit.
So how long does it take to add a room on to the back of the house? Maybe you just want to add one room, maybe standard size. I don't know dimensions or anything. I'm just saying like a little small. Maybe you just want to add a something that you can just make that your TV room or your media room.
Yeah, one neat project we did here this past year was not an add-on. We had a customer that had a patio
Hmm.
that you just sit underneath, and they decided they wanted to close it in, kind of make that maybe an office space. So we did, I guess maybe a slight addition, but it really was just a close in. We took an outdoor space, we made it an indoor space, and that took us. It was probably a little over 2 months. You always have to kind of you weigh in for weather, and your help. Sometimes people may call in. Who knows? It's a number of things, but it's about a 2 month process from starting to permitting to getting everything completed and finished. So, and that was probably maybe 200 square foot. So a nice little addition that they were able to use. So it's probably a good maybe a good benchmark. But that's a great question to ask too when you hire someone. You kind of ask them, how long do you think it may take, and you guys kind of talk through that, and it should sound logical.
So in the average, or say for instance, what if this community have like a homeowners association? Is it okay to come in and paint your house hot pink?
No, it's not okay. Hey, hey, HOAs, they get bad. They get a pretty tough rap sometimes. But that's a great point too. If you stay in a location that has an HOA, they have a lot of different governing rules to try to keep the community consistent, and try to keep it beautified, if you will. So, working with your HOA is important. A lot of times they have some, and I have had customers that say, "Hey, I like to paint this. I think it's, a couple houses down the street has done it, so I didn't even ask." And that's fine. But I think if you're going to branch out there and do something completely different, you probably want to check with them. There's nothing worse than doing a project and then realizing that you have to either stop it, or tear it down, or or undo the work. That can get pretty costly.
Okay, so we have a question here wanting to know if you have a consultation fee or is it free?
So if it's a that's a great question. So when it comes to estimates, we don't charge to do estimates. Typically, I talk to customers, um, ask them what the project is. I usually ask for pictures, and we try to give estimates remotely. If we can get a picture and get a good feel for it, we'll try to give you something remotely. If we have to come visit, we will. Now that's completely different than a consultation. I have been hired before to do consultations. For example, I had a customer that closed in their garage, and they did like you just said. They went and closed in the garage, and they was doing this remodel, got ready to get the utilities on, and the city said, "Hey, you closed in your garage and you didn't have a permit." So they hired us to work with the city to navigate that permitting process, because the work had already happened. So then we had to go in and just kind of document the things that were done, draw up blueprints, etc. And we was hired as a consultant to work through that permitting after the fact. We did get the permit, we got it secured, and they got the project checked off and was able to move forward. So we do offer consulting, and that's generally some kind of fee associated with that. And that's us just assisting and providing guidance. But if it's just an estimate for a project, then no, there's not a fee for an estimate.
Okay, all right. So, what is one? inexpensive home improvement that can make a big impact for a homeowner?
Paint. You know, my dad is a jack of all trade. I got a lot of picked up a lot of things probably from him. But painting, you can change the look of a room really simple by changing the color, adding an accent wall. I even tell customers like cabinets. You can change the look of your entire kitchen, just by changing the color of your cabinets, right? So
Mm.
a lot of people I think overlook painting and just how it can take your same space and make it look different. And you can do that on a really good budget, so that don't cost a lot. That could be a DIY kind of deal, or you can hire somebody. But I think painting is probably one that gets overlooked more than anything, and that can be applied to a number of things. Between rooms or furniture or cabinets, you name it. So I think that's a good one.
Can you also paint your tub as well?
Well, yes, you can paint tubs. In fact, I have a customer just asked me last week. They want to paint their faucets. They decided instead of buying new faucets, they had the bronze kind of look, and they want to go to black. And instead of just buying new faucets for the bathroom and all, they said, "Well, what would it be just to just paint them?" Because some of those tubs, those jetted tubs like they used to have back in the day, the Whirlpool tubs,
Hmm.
uh, when you start changing out those faucets, they can get pretty expensive. That kind of like the little double handles with they can get pretty expensive. So yeah, you can even paint handles. We painted doorknobs, change them from gold to black. But we painted a number of different things in a customer's home just to kind of change the look and make it match their style. So
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So let's switch to community service. What does serving the DFW Metroplex mean to you?
that's a huge question. We have served in a number of ways in the past through outreach and through other ministries. Now I think as a small business, when we're providing services for homes, I really do look at that as a way that we serve our community. If we go out and we do work for seniors, seniors get discounts, typically between 10 to 15%. It's not anything I advertise. It's just if someone was to hire me, they'll notice when they got the bill, there's going to be a discount applied to it. So that's a way that we serve, those that may be on a little bit tighter income. Uh, uh, and I think we serve just really through the services that we provide, being able to offer so many different options and being able to stand behind what we do. I think that's a way that we serve our community as well. So,
That's good. That's good. How important is customer service in your business?
customer service is it's important. You know, uh, I think I've learned as a business owner, really just as I like people. I deal with people well. We try to appease customers. We try to be, I'm always being honest with customers and being upfront. A lot of people say, the customer's always right, and in my space, the customer's not always right. The
Uh
customer
oh.
may want to do something that I advise them not to do. That may not be a good option. That may not last, or it may not be durable. So our customers are not always right, and we try to provide the guidance and the expertise. And if it's something that we don't know, then we try to be a resource and connect them with someone that does know. And I think that's a great form of customer service, opposed to leading someone down the wrong track, and having them make a decision that they may later on regret. So that's where the communication I think's come in, and just the transparency come in as a contractor, when you try to build that trust with who you're working with.
So, can you share a memorable project that touched your heart?
Projects that touch my heart. I was just looking, since we started tracking projects. We're about 450 plus projects since we've been tracking them over the last year or so. So we've done a lot. We've been pretty busy. Uh, and I can remember just about most of them. I don't know if any. I've looked back at several of them, and they make you feel good when you can beautify a space, especially when it's a bathroom that looks really outdated, and you can come in and pull the tub out and put a shower in and beautiful tiles. So I don't know if I have one. I think I have many of them that I've just kind of looked at and said, I like to look at this. We really transformed this space. Uh, but I don't know if I just have one that I can maybe point at.
So tell me, what do you do when you tear down a wall and you see that there's termites back there or carpenter's ants? What do you do?
If you tore down a wall and you see those things back there, then you want to have it treated. That's not a big thing. Usually when you're doing demolition or you're doing construction work, you're gonna have some surprises. You're gonna have some things, and I'm a planner, by the way. So if I do projects like large projects, I break it up into steps. I think the largest one is a hundred and about 140 to 160 steps that I have broken out. And even being that detailed, you're still gonna come across some things that I didn't think about, or some things that we didn't know until you open the wall up. Because behind walls sometimes are surprises. But if you find that, you call in someone to treat it, and then after it's treated and you guys address it, then you can move forward with the work that you're trying to get done.
So tell me about the biggest surprise that you ran across.
I'm trying to, I've opened up lots of walls, and sometimes you just don't know what's back
Name
there.
a few things that you ran
Uh,
across. Come on, tell us.
from well, it can be plumbing. It can be. Yeah, I tore out a shower today. I was called in to do a shower because it was leaking. And when I tore the wall open, it was just cement back there. It was no barrier to stop water, right? So cement, uh, as great as cement is, cement is porous. We all know that. It just kind of sucks in water and lets it back out. All you got to do is spray it. Go turn on your water hose. You'll see it. So I'm always, I don't know if I'm surprised, but you see a lot of stuff when when you're starting to tear stuff apart. I hadn't found any gold mines or nothing like that. If that's what you're asking, if I found any
No, I was
any
thinking maybe
treats.
you. No, I was thinking maybe you saw some snakes, some rabbits, some squirrels.
No, I've seen
Dogs.
snake skins. You see
Oh,
those
really?
sometimes. Uh-huh. Yeah, you do. Uh, we you
Because
know we've gotten
they
called
can.
in for rodents before and stuff like that. So it's stuff that's back buried.
Okay. So, how has your faith influenced your business decisions?
uh, it's because of my faith is how I ended up in business. So I think um, we all have gifts. That's something that the word tells us. One of my gift is faith. I'm a strong believer in what the Lord can do, and nobody's gonna persuade me against that. So it's really because of my faith, I think, how I ended up in business. So uh, it plays a part, probably, in what I'm doing and what I'm trying to pursue day to day. When I'm taking on projects or when I'm working with customers. Uh, I have faith in knowing that what we're going to do and how we're going to deliver. And that takes faith in customers as well. What people don't realize a lot of times is when you hire somebody to come in and do work for you, like if you were to hire me to come, if you were to hire a contractor to come into your house and work on your property, you two are getting to know each other. And it takes faith for you to hand over a check and trust that person to do what they're going to do, right? And I've told customers before too, some customers were not comfortable with deposits, and I told them, it takes faith for me to start doing work on your property, and get you to a certain percentage and believe that you're going to do what you're supposed to do. So I've had that scenario as well. So it plays a part, day in, day out. I think you can use systems to kind of help with that. A lot of systems kind of capture information, and if someone didn't do what they were supposed to do, maybe you can have a remedy for it. But in my business day to day, I've usually completed a job, and I usually haven't got completely paid. So that's the faith in just about each and every job. If you come hire me to hang your ceiling fan, you're going to have a fan up, and you haven't paid for that fan yet. So
Mhm.
it, each and every job, it's a little bit of trust that I'm putting in the customer's hand to do what they say they're going to do, uh, and
Okay.
it's just it's part of it.
So are you required to purchase the items that are needed? Do you make it a habit that you purchase the items, or can the customer purchase the faucet? Can the customer purchase the ceiling fan and have you just
Yes.
install it?
Yeah, they can, and I've done both. I usually ask a customer which way works best. If it's something small, they can purchase it. If you're doing a remodel and you need paint and you need tile and you need all these other different things, sometimes it's easier for us to do it because we're working the schedule. So, that's what I found. I usually tell the customer it's their option. If they want us to do it, we can pick it up. If they want to do it, not a problem. Uh,
Okay.
it's just what you're comfortable with.
Okay.
Mhm.
So what are the goals for Twisted Pads over the next year?
Next year, for us, we want to just continue to deliver exceptional services. That's what we want to do. Be a trusted provider, contractor here in the North Texas area. I think we'll continue to grow our customer base. Maybe some of our services may continue to grow. And what we've been working on really has been the customer component. So we've started, tracking how well we're doing with customers, kind of starting to follow up, make some calls and do some surveys. So we're really just trying to, check the boxes, those things that best in class companies do. We need to continue to get that feedback. We pay attention to our reviews, all those different kind of things. So really, we just want to continue to grow, be a trusted company you can call and depend on, and deliver services that you can trust off in. So that's our goal.
So what encouraging word do you have for that contractor that maybe they've started, maybe things are starting out slow, maybe it seems like nothing is happening for them. What kind of encouraging word can you give them?
I think for anyone starting out, just getting going, just stick to it. Uh, if it's something that you believe off in, especially if you have a good skill that you really, you're good at it, stick to it. Also, don't be closed off to partnering. A lot of how we have been able to be successful is that we do partner with others. So, I'm always, in these stores and big box hardware stores, and I'm always talking to people. I'm always getting numbers. I'm always giving them my card. Other service providers and other professionals, uh, and that has really paid a big difference because there's sometimes I need help to get something done or get something completed, and I've built some rapport and a relationship with someone. I've seen their work. I've tested them out, and I've kind of built some good relationships of some folks that I can trust that can also help get the job done. So, if you're trying and you're starting out and you're on your own, like most folks are, nothing wrong with that. But be open to growing, be open to using extra resources, uh, and stick to it. And ultimately, I think it'll pan out. The reason we do remodel and we do handyman work or home repair work, some companies only focus on one. But starting out, Sheila, we just said, hey, we want to eat. So we just said, whatever comes our way, right? We're going to take it. And
Yeah,
I haven't gone away from that model yet. So
yeah.
when someone's starting out too, uh, be open to do smaller jobs. Sometimes the big contractors don't want to come do a small faucet. They don't want to come deal with your dripping sink, right? Uh, but how many dripping sinks are out there, right? And
Right.
so be open to those smaller jobs too, because those really kind of help keep you steady, and you gain skills in a lot of different things. Uh, so I do encourage people to look at that avenue as well, not just the big hitters, but also those small ones.
I do have a question. Have you ever completed a job and didn't receive payment? And if so, how did you handle it?
That's a great question, and yes, I have. Uh, Out of 450 plus jobs we've had, I've had two. that I've had an issue with. One particular, we did have a customer. We went and did some work for them. Talked to them about the work that we were doing. Told them about the product that we were going to be using, and they were basically just trying to patch up some stuff, if you will. And we did the patches, and it turned out as good as patches can look. But what happened is that the customer did pay me, and but it was one of those, I've learned also just to trust people when you seem like you're having a problem with the customer, you probably ought to believe it. So they did pay me, and then about a week after they paid me, they they called their credit card company and told them that you know
Mm,
it was a fraudulent charge. I don't know what they told them, but they reversed the payment. And when that
mm,
happens, you've done the work, and there was really nothing I could do on that part. Unless I wanted to go a silver route. So I kind of learned through that process of, so when it comes to deposits or larger jobs, it's important to don't do 100% of the work and not have collected a good percentage of what's owed to you.
yeah.
I kind of learned a little bit through that process. But yeah, that was probably the one. I had two instances, but that's probably the one that stands out the most.
Well, that's good. Well, for the most part, you're looking at 99% of the customers that you had have
There you
paid you.
go.
That's
There you go.
good.
There you go.
Great percentage. Well, I want to thank you. I want to thank you for taking this opportunity to let us hear and hear from you and see what you're doing, and just to see that oftentimes when you talk to a person, that's when you can kind of get a feel of what type of person that they are. And I personally vouch for Bosque. I say if you need work done, I put the numbers there, give him a call. Let's go ahead and get it started. Let Twisted Pads come in and beautify your home. Any final words of encouragement before we let everyone go?
No, I have enjoyed this conversation. I thank you. You made it really easy to be
Yep.
able to talk and just be able to converse. So thank you for allowing us to share a little bit about us. And of course, your audience, if anybody that's listening is part of your audience, if they were to call and say, hey, we learned about you through the Touching You Talk show, uh, we'll just throw a 15% discount on their project.
Ooh, y'all
So
heard that?
we'll do that. Now I'm gonna put an expiration date. Let's just say
Right.
that's good through August.
Okay.
I don't want them
Okay.
calling next year trying to do it. So let's just say between now and the end of August,
Right.
we'll love to support your audience too in that manner, and support what you're
Awesome.
doing. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. And they will, I'm not going to even put that in the chat. They're going to have to listen to the whole interview
All right,
in
there you
order to
go.
hear that discount.
There you go.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Thank you, everyone who is listening. And I ask that you would go ahead and share, share, share. I see someone saying, "Oh man, I'm too late." No, you can actually watch it on demand. All right. So if you watch it on demand, you can get the discount, but you do have to watch it in order to know that it's there. So yeah,
There you go.
but anyway, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Keisha. Thank you, Noah. Thank you, Madison, for lending Mr. Bosque to me for this time. This has been Touching You Talk Show. Watch us next week. We're going to have special guests. We'll have Jordan Diggs and his dad. Is going to be a father and son talk with his brother and with his son, and it's going to be a great time. So I ask that you will make sure and join us next week at the same time, 7 p.m., for Touching You Talk Show. Again, this is Sheila Black. Have a great day, everyone.